Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. And in this week's news, the Lone Ranger rides again. And how financially sound is your Addison Township government?
Stay tuned and learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. A routine welfare check did not turn out so well for a local man. While making a routine welfare check on a Pontiac Street resident, police discovered that he had 3 outstanding warrants against him issued by a Lansing court. The resident was taken to Oakland County Jail, where Lansing police picked him up.
Another shoplifter was arrested at the Myers store after attempting to leave the store with $85 worth of groceries. The woman was charged with third-degree retail fraud.
A man seen drinking and driving managed to elude arrest this week after the Oakland County Sheriff Department was notified, too late, that a witness saw him drive north on M24 after drinking at a local gas station.
Hats off to our local police who sometimes have to respond to the strangest calls. This week, a resident called Village Police complaining someone entered her apartment, drank her bottled water, some soda, and then ate her peanut butter cup. She requested police to take fingerprints because a similar theft happened on a previous occasion. She was advised to file a report at the station. However, the woman never showed up.
And you just gotta love our local police. Oxford police discovered a woman sitting alone on the sidewalk in front of a Washington Street business. The woman had no shoes and appeared to be intoxicated. She was provided safe transportation to her home.
Back for a third year, the Lone Ranger Festival is scheduled for Saturday, August 1st. Event coordinator Rod Charles will have a little more help this year because the DDA committed to hiring former Chamber Director Lisa Renault. For the last 2 years, Rod Charles has donated countless hours into making the festival a local and state success. Because the Lone Ranger Festival has grown so large, Rod feels he could use an extra hand to get the job done. As the planning coordinator and implementation of the festival is massive, and the DDA board agreed. Looks like our Lone Ranger Festival is in a very capable hands with Charles and Renault at the helm with all of their knowledge and support.
And Addison Township has again balanced their financial budget. According to Bruce Pearson, supervisor of Addison Township, the general fund is safe and sound. The balance sheet shows about $3.5 million in the fund. Even with the maximum budget allocation of $2.3 million for the township hall, the township account is financially sound. This year, elected officials of the township will actually receive a 2% raise, which according to Pearson is in accordance with the cost of living. The last time employees were able to receive an increase was in 2008.
It was cold outdoors but warm inside Leonard Elementary School, where the students celebrated the beginning of spring with a spring fair celebration. Students enjoyed riding a mechanical bull, playing games, and shooting each other with fake cannons and getting their faces painted. To them, it looks like spring is worth waiting for.
Jean and Marlene Malaya recently celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. Married in 1955 at the Leonard United Methodist Church on March 19th, the two have resided in Leonard for over 60 years. They have 2 children, 4 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. They celebrated their anniversary with a family dinner and a cruise. All the staff at OCTV give best wishes for the next 60 years. Yeah, that's pretty neat, Terry.
Yeah, that's really cool. They're good people. It's really nice to hear that people are still making it that long as far as anniversaries are concerned. I'm not even going to talk about mine. But I do want to talk about Julie filling in for me. Thank you so much, Julie. You did a great job. It made me feel very relaxed. I was able to see the news and our programming, because you can watch us on YouTube, and she did a great job.
Well, she was a lot of fun too, but I have to tell you, I missed you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I missed
Welcome
everybody
back.
here too, and it's kind of nice to be back. I wish it was a little bit warmer. We were in some warm weather, but we had a good time.
Well, when you came back, we actually had snow, and I don't know, there's
yeah.
snow on the ground out there right now. But I understand you have more critters at your home.
We do. Spring is springing all over the place. Look out, because the ducks are out, the geese are out, the swans are back, and then now we have another creepy crawly. We have a one of those woodchucks or the muskrat.
Muskrats.
A muskrat living in our boat well. So maybe he'll keep the beavers away.
Now you see your husband donning one of those coonskin caps and
Yeah.
having traps.
Muskrat mittens and all that, yeah. that'd
Kind of
be
like
nice.
Daniel Boone out there.
Spring is springing, and that's really nice. So be careful of the critters out there. I'm seeing more of them, you know, of course, on the side of the road. So,
Right.
and congratulations to Leonard, or excuse me, Addison Township.
Yes.
Those people finally being able to get a raise.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job,
Yeah,
you know, over
they
there.
are.
I got to say,
Yeah, they're keeping
they
an eye
watch
on it.
almost every penny that goes through there.
Yeah.
Which you folks out there can be proud of your trustees.
Yep.
You know.
Sure can. It's nice to see everything's the same when I came home. I really appreciated that. It's nice to go away, but really nice to be home.
Pretty much the same.
Yep, it is. And that's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, please stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us right here on OCTV, Charter 191 and AT&T Channel 99.
And coming up next on OCTV, tune in for Oxford Local Sports. Catch John Ochins with Oxford School News, and join Dave Kenny with Auto Talk and Science in the News.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. Once again, the proposed International Residence Academy was a major subject of the public comments at the Oxford Board of Education meeting this week. Several residents took the time to sift through the contract between Wei Ming and Oxford schools. Concerns range from financial to parking adequacy. We're going to have a special edition of Schooling Around specifically on these concerns. Schooling Around can be seen on Charter 191 and AT&T 99 at 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, also at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. Lots of good news for student competition events this week. The Distributive Education Clubs of America, also known as DECA, held an event that qualified a number of our high school kids for their international competition. Teacher Steve Rook explains.
Yeah, we went to state competition in Grand Rapids 2 weekends ago, and actually had all 34 students that went placed either first or second at the competition, and 23 of them took first, which qualified them for the international competition in April.
Wow, 23. And
23.
Where do they go for that?
Orlando.
Savannah Fulmer and Olivia Hale were two of the winners. They talk about their role.
Olivia and I were partners with third member, Alex, who's not here. We did a financial literacy promotion project.
Give me an idea of what that's all about.
Okay, well, we had to create a campaign at the elementary schools, the middle school, and the high school for financial literacy, and then we had to write a 30-page paper on like the process and everything that we did, and then we had to create a board and go to the state competition and present it for judges.
The girls explain more about financial literacy.
That consists of everything from the printing process of money to who's on the coins and the dollar bills, along with budgeting, saving and spending, and credit, tax, and interest. So everything that will help you be successful in the future when it comes to being smart with money.
We move over to robotics now. Team Torque 2137 also scored some wins recently. Savannah Fulmer was on that team too.
Well, we were signed up for 3 districts, and the first one we went to, we placed first with our alliance. So at the competition, 3 teams are always on the same side, and you compete with each other. So we were #1 alliance and chairman's, which that's what I'm on, where we write a paper and do a presentation for the judges about everything based on robotics except for the robot. So all the community service we do, how our team works with all its students and the mentors and everything, we placed first as well. So because of chairman's and the robot, it immediately qualified us for the state competition. However, we still go to the other districts. So the last district we were just at was in Grand Rapids, and we placed first there as well for the robot, and chairman's didn't compete. And then next weekend, we will be at Bedford, which is close to Ohio, and we'll be competing there for the 3rd district, and then states is the next weekend after that.
Team Torque is now ranked #1 in Michigan. Over in Auto Tech, word about exam scores for the AAA Ford competition.
This is Chad and this is Eric, and they've qualified for the finals in the AAA Ford Student Auto Skills competition.
Wow, Chad, what's your last name?
Simmers.
Chad Simmers and Eric
Petrel.
Petrel. Hey, congratulations, guys. Okay, so, and was this the result of the test that,
Yes, this was the regional test that we took back in February, and all the schools in Michigan that have auto programs were competing in this. Vocational centers, high schools, trade and tech schools, and they only take the top 10 scoring schools. So we qualified, and we're going on to state finals. And this will be May 6th and 7th.
right, so now these guys have to practice, right?
Yes. Yeah, so they're staying after school and they're working with me. Skelnick has donated a vehicle to become familiar with the system and component locations so that we can better know the car when it comes time at the competition.
And if that wasn't enough, 9 Oxford High students won awards at the Business Professionals of America State Leadership Conference. Our broadcast news production team took first, Computer Programming Concepts won silver, our website design team took 4th, and C++ programming took 6th. Way to go, guys. That's the Oxford School News for this week. Dave Kenny is next with Science in the News, then Oxford Wildcats Sports. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
And welcome back to Oxford News this week. Time for Oxford Sports. Well, baseball and bats were cracking the Wildcat opening day. A doubleheader. Oxford beat the Brandon Blackhawks 11-1. Oxford came out to host and win the first game of the year against the Blackhawks of Brandon High School. Again, they picked up an 11-1 in 6 innings of play. The game was a bit short. The boys showed up ready to swing the bat, and they piled on 9 hits right out of the gate. In the second game, Oxford High School beat Brandon as well, 3-1. The Wildcats picked up their second win of the day, winning the nightcap 3-1. Mike Neff picked up a win. Neff sent 6 Blackhawks back to the bench after striking them out. Not so good for the Oxford lacrosse team. Pontiac Notre Dame Prep was led by the attack of Hunter Hohenschild. That sounds like a lacrosse name. 3 goals and 1 assist in the dominating 0-2 Oxford Wednesday night victory. Pontiac picked up. It led 3-0 after 1 quarter and 5-1 at the half. Was never seriously threatened by Oxford, who was led by Rand Kimbrough and Jaron Tash, who had 8 saves on goal. Again, I guess it's a rebuilding time for them. In a segment, we would like to say, hey kid, turn around for God's sakes. Look what you might be missing. You see, it was Justin Verlander, and he had the jersey. Our version of comedy here. Just a reminder, programs you see here on OCTV can easily be viewed online on your personal device. Go to OCCTV.org, hit the Programs tab, or you can go on YouTube and you can watch any one of our programs on demand on your computer, iPad, phone, whatever you carry. You can catch any of the programs on here on your iPad, or again, I said phone. Catch all the sports on weekends here if you want to catch them on the broadcast, Saturday and Sunday between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. at an OCTV. and on OCCTV.org. Hey, going into summer, we want to feature you and your family in the sports you take part in. We're covering some of the Little League games and even some softball games, but we'd like maybe you to send some of your stories and pictures along in video. We need an objective viewpoint. Send them via the web to OCTVnews@hotmail.com, or you can mail them to our address here, Oxford Community Television, 1775 North Lapeer Road, Suite C, Oxford, Michigan, 48371. Again, make sure to write sports department down in the title bar. If you do send us a DVD, remember it's non-returnable. Yes, your chance to be a sports reporter for OCTV. Feel free to interview anyone on your team, be an on-air host. And again, it's going to be all up to you. We'd love to see you take part in that. Again, that's going to wrap it in sports. We do have a few things we want to say thank you. A winning salute out to the Michigan State Spartans as they continue their endeavor in the big dance, the Final Four. And we'd also like to pass a winning salute on to a local business, Red Naps, who have been actually helping the baseball team and softball team with a thing they call Dining for Dollars. By the time this airs, this promotion will have already taken place, but they had a flyer that you could get a certain percentage off in your meal. Hey, just remember they're supporting the community and the sports at the Oxford High School. Maybe you could support them and pass a winning salute on to them. Again, winning salute on to Red Naps of Oxford and, of course, the Michigan State Spartans, as Mr. Izzo makes us proud. That wraps it in sports. I'll see you next week on Oxford News This Week. Have a great week, everybody. Go green and white.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, the largest state in the U.S. is bone dry, and time is running out to save it. Jay Famiglietti, a hydrologist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab and the University of California, Irvine, put out a stark warning last week: start rationing water now to avoid disaster. Writing in the Los Angeles Times, he warned that the state is down to its last year of above-ground reserves and that its groundwater backup is rapidly disappearing. California has no contingency plan for a persistent drought like this one, he wrote, except apparently staying in emergency mode and praying for rain. Groundwater is now a primary source of water as the state experiences its fourth year of severe drought. California has pumped 15 cubic kilometers out of its main aquifers every year since 2011, according to NASA satellite data. In some places, the ground is sinking at a rate of 30 centimeters a year, and as a result, no one even knows how the groundwater is being used, as the state has no policies to keep track of it. He also called for the speedier implementation of California's Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, the first law empowering local agencies to regulate and keep account of groundwater extraction. The act requires full sustainability by 2014. By then, there may be no groundwater left to sustain, he wrote. And in Spain, the lost tomb of Spanish writer Miguel de Cervantes has been uncovered. The author of Don Quixote was buried in 1616 in Madrid's convent of the Barefoot Trinitarians, but his remains were lost when the church was rebuilt, and infrared cameras, 3D scanners, and radar were deployed to identify the burial site in a crypt beneath the convent. Welcome home. And on the technology front, it's bigger, better, and stronger. NASA successfully fired the most powerful solid rocket booster ever, immersing the hills of Promontory, Utah in fire and smoke during a test last week. The rocket booster, built by aerospace company Orbital ATK, could one day launch NASA's Space Launch System, SLS, a rocket being developed to carry the Orion capsule and other payloads on missions to explore deep space. But before that, it must pass tests to ensure that it is ready for flight. This trial is the first of two tests aimed to ensure that the booster can handle high temperatures. The firing lasted a little more than 2 minutes, the same length of time that would be required for it to lift the SLS off the launch pad. The temperature inside the booster reached more than 3,000 degrees centigrade, that is to say Celsius, as it burned about 5.5 tons of propellant per second. Meanwhile, engineers collected data on the booster's performance while vetting the design and upgrades to the internal motor insulation and nozzle. At first blush, everything seems to have gone well, but the booster has more hurdles to clear before its first real flight. Test results will be analyzed over several months, and a cold temperature test conducted with a solid fuel at about 4 degrees Celsius is slated for early next year. In our next story, back on Earth, would Black Beauty have made the cut? It turns out that mares prefer stallions with deeper whinnies. Female horses look for the strongest stallions, but their view is obscured. When their view is obscured, they depend on voices to size up potential mates. In the wild, horses live in harems of adults and juveniles led by a stallion. When the young reach sexual maturity, they usually move to another group to mate. Albin Lamasson and his team at the University of Rennes 1 in France have shown that when given the choice, mares go for groups led by stallions with deeper voices, a factor linked with size and fertility. Female choice of harem often occurs from afar, where sound is the most effective form of communication for a first encounter, says Lamasson. So females get a first impression of the stallion based on his concert. The same authors had previously shown that stallions with deeper voices were larger on average. They also have now found that such horses also have a slower heart rate and sire more offspring. By listening to calls, mares might be finding the toughest, calmest, and most fertile males, the ones with the potential to be good fathers and protective mates. The finding could help horse breeders select the best stallions, too. Breeders will be able to choose the most fertile stallions that excite mares the most so that reproduction happens in an optimal manner, says Lamasson. And now, all might be able to make that decision based on sound rather than costly sperm tests. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to another segment of the news we call your weekly calendar of events, where we feature your weekly calendar of local Oxford and Addison community events, including charity special fundraisers and general community information. Now, if you or your organization would like help to get your message out to the public, contact us for detailed information at our studio phone number at 248-628-9658 or go to our website at occtv.org. Applications are still available for Oxford High School juniors who want to spend some of their summer vacation exploring what it is like to be the public official who makes the laws and the police officers who enforce them. For Boys State, Girls State, and Student Trooper programs, just pick up the necessary forms at your Oxford High School counseling office. All Oxford High School students who plan to attend college, the Oxford Lions Club is offering $500 scholarships for student seniors who reside in the Oxford School District. To be eligible, you must be attending public or private school or be homeschooled. You must have at least a 2.0 grade average and plan to attend either a 2 or a 4-year college or trade school. Pick up an application either at the Oxford Public Library or at the Oxford High School office. You have until Friday, April 24th to apply. Good luck. Now until March 31st, the Oxford Public Library at 530 Pontiac Street in Oxford is joining forces with Hope Closet to collect gently used formal dresses, shoes, purses, wraps, and jewelry. Those items will be freely given away to young ladies who would like to go to school dances and the prom this year. If not for your generosity, they wouldn't be able to go forward with this. And if you help, you'll help these great kids enjoy their high school social dreams. By calling 248-628-3034, you can learn more information, or you can go to their website, hopecloset.com, on your computer. Bikers Giving Bikes. If you have a bicycle and you no longer need or have outgrown, why not donate it to the Oxford American Legion program, Bikers Giving Bikes? Or if you have a child who would like a bike, but you just can't afford to purchase one, Bikers Giving Bikes have refurbished bikes of all sizes. For more information, contact Mr. Sargent at 248-628-9081 at the American Legion building in Oxford. Wednesday, April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Oxford High School Performing Arts building. Enjoy Oxford's Got Talent, when high school and middle school students will compete to be the top performers of the night. Admission is only $5. Proceeds go to benefit various Oxford High School functions and activities. For more information, you can go to their website, Oxford's Got Talent 2015 at gmail.com. Now, if you represent an organization wishing to show your support for our local Oxford school sports, music, concerts, or any of the many programs broadcast by our TV station, you could become a sponsor or an underwriter of OCTV. The promotional television spot will be created and recognition will be given to you by our sports announcers during the event. It's easy and it's inexpensive. For more information, contact our station manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658, or you can send a message of interest to Bill's email address, manager@occtv.org. This is Oxford Community Television, OCTV. I'm your host, Elgin Nichols. We invite you to join us again for the next segment of your weekly calendar of events.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Chevrolet will offer a new feature on the redesigned 2016 Malibu that aims to keep teen drivers safer behind the wheel. Chevrolet says Teen Driver is the first feature in the industry to offer what is essentially a report card that allows parents to view on a display how their teens drive. Once active, Teen Driver automatically mutes the radio until the front seat belts are fastened. Parents can set the radio's maximum volume to a lower level. Additionally, parents can select a maximum speed between 40 and 75 miles an hour, which activates a visual warning and audible chime if exceeded. A Malibu with a Teen Driver can also track distance driven, maximum speed travel, overspeed warnings issued, stability control events, anti-lock brake events. Parents can also enable the feature by creating a personal identification number in the settings menu of their available MyLink system. The PIN number allows parents or adults to register a teen's key fob, which is critical because the system settings are turned on only for registered key fobs. Until front occupants fasten their seatbelts, MyKey provides a 6-second reminder chime every 30 seconds and mutes the vehicle's audio system. The message center also displays "Buckle up" to unmute the radio. Important for kids. MyKey also lets parents block explicit satellite radio stations and limit audio volume to 44% of total volume. A Do Not Disturb feature blocks phone calls and holds text messages on phones paired with sync. The 2016 Malibu also has safety features that, if equipped, are automatically turned on and incapable of being manually turned off when the system is activated. The system is not a subscription-based system and will remain with the vehicle permanently. And good news for the Detroit area. Detroit Diesel Corporation plans to upgrade its nearly 75-year-old manufacturing plant in suburban Detroit. The manufacturer of diesel engines is expected to invest $208 million to add new machinery and equipment for a new medium-duty diesel engine line, creating an anticipated 245 jobs. The Michigan Strategic Fund has approved a $1.3 million performance-based grant in support of the project. The new grant is in addition to a 2013 grant from MSF for $250,000 for new jobs related to an expansion of a turbocharger line at the Redford Township, Michigan plant. Detroit Diesel chose to establish the new diesel engine line in Michigan over competing locations in Mexico and Germany, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation said in a briefing memo. The supplier, owned by German automaker Daimler AG, also produces a medium-duty diesel engine in Mannheim, Germany, and could easily place the new line there, said MEDC. With the commitment of the state and local support, the company made the decision to place production in Michigan so it will be made under the Detroit brand name, the briefing memo said, and the project was expected to begin before the second quarter of this year. Good news. And on the wage front, Mercedes, that is to say workers at Daimler AG's Mercedes-Benz plant in Vance, Alabama, have the highest hourly pay and benefits among employees at U.S. car factories, while Volkswagen and BMW workers earn the least, a study shows. Daimler workers earn an average of $65 an hour, while employees at Volkswagen's Chattanooga plant are paid an average of $38 per hour, and workers at BMW's Spartanburg SC plant, that is to say South Carolina, factory earned $39 an hour, a study in 2014 labor costs by the Center for Automotive Research shows. Labor cost at General Motors U.S. plants, including benefits, are $58. Ford Motor Company is around $57, and employees at Fiat Chrysler earn $48 an hour, reflecting the much higher percentage of lower-paid entry-level workers at FCA. The study was released as UAW officials prepared for contract talks with the Detroit Three. GM, Ford, and FCA are the only automakers in the CAR report whose U.S. workers are represented by the UAW. Among automakers operating in the U.S., Honda workers earned an average of $49 an hour, Toyota $48, and Nissan $42, and its corporate stablemate Kia $41. Despite major restructuring since 2009 recession, GM and Ford have higher labor costs than their major competitors. The $10 per hour labor cost gap between GM and Toyota translates into roughly $250 a car in additional labor costs for GM, according to data in the report. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. As always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.